All right, hello and welcome to the Secret Society of Man podcast. My name is Zach. I'm here with my cousin Ryan. Today, I just want to talk a little bit about what's been going on with me. So, for the first time in 6 years, I have a job. I'm not bumming anymore.
You still had your real estate job, but
yeah. Well, I mean, I was doing that, but I really did feel like a bum. Like there really has been a progression in the last 2 years of how I've been handling my life. Like before 2 years ago was when real estate was in the golden age. And so it was just ridiculous how it was being in real estate at that time. And that's when I got into it. So I got in the golden age. So I never really knew how good it was because I didn't know how it was before. But when interest rates were at 3%, anybody could get approved. I was just calling people that just had they were barely scraping by, but they were still able to buy a house. And I was doing 16 deals a year. I was making $120,000. And for me at that time, because I don't need that much. I'm not the kind of guy to go buy a super nice car. I just got a decent one on a lease, so it's new and it wasn't breaking down all the time. But I never really was living in luxury. And so what that meant is at six figures, I pretty much was making as much money as I possibly could spend. So I was a millionaire.
Mm-hmm.
I was Elon Musk in my mind. I had already made it,
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden, the interest rates went up, things got hard, and I went from balling to my business completely dried up. And I had a lot of money though saved up, so I was able to just kind of coast for a while. But honestly, even when things were quote unquote busy, I never worked a 40-hour week in that entire
Which is
time.
amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's insane for how much money you're making, and it's when I'm thinking of my busiest times and I say, oh, I worked 30 hours this week. Half of that was coming to this office and hanging out and just drinking beers. You go in that fridge over there in that kitchen, bro, there is no food in that kitchen. It's just wine and Bud Light. That's all it is. And we spend entire Wednesdays over at Beer Stube just drinking, right? But I think the turning point was whenever Christy started working from home. I felt bad because I really wasn't working all that much. I was working an hour a day, if that. And she was sitting there across from me working 8 hours a day at her call center job. And so I felt like an idiot. I'm just playing RuneScape all day. And she's sitting there working her ass off at the job she's had for 10 years. And I'm okay, something's got to change. So I ended up applying for jobs. And I don't know when the last time is that you had to get out there and apply for jobs. But that is a frustrating experience, dude. It is so hard to get a job. It's not about just – I thought that I could just personality my way in and just people would say, oh, yeah, this guy's competent. But, it's all about what's on your resume. I was trying to get a job as a property manager, and I had done real estate, and, I felt like I had a lot of those same skills that applied. And I would get, an interview here and there, but, I was never really considered because my piece of paper that says – resume or on my resume just didn't say property manager on it, so I just get overlooked constantly. But I thought that the job would just be easy, I'd be able to do it because I was pretty sure that everybody hates their property manager. They're always they always are pissed off that they're not answering. I thought the bar would be pretty low and that I pretty much would be able to go to this job and just chill all day. And but still they wouldn't let me do it. So I decided that I would lie on my resume.
Okay.
And I put in that I had 2 years of property management experience, and I told my buddy, hey, if you get any calls, here's what you tell them. I managed some of your properties that I helped you buy,
Sure. And
that way technically I'm a property manager. As soon as I put that in, I was getting so many interviews, and that's just frustrating, bro. That how are you supposed to get a job in an industry if you have no experience? I feel a lot of people have that experience. Did you ever run into that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's very tough. I mean, even in my career, I remember the first time, when I went up to a different department that I worked at prior to where I'm at now. I'll never forget when I had that final interview with the chief. It was literally me and him, no one else. It was pretty cash. He had a coffee cup and we're sitting at a round table. There's obviously I was still in my suit, but there's it was pretty chill. And he said, He's like, is there anything you want to tell me before the end of this interview? And at the time, I knew I was up against a guy from Dallas PD, Texas, who was transferring up there. I was up against a canine from the county that department was in. And I was up against, like, some other local lateral that was coming nearby, like, in the same county, different city, though. So I was the only, like, greenhorn out of this thing, okay? Essentially. I mean, I was a community service officer, but that's nothing compared to copping, right?
Yeah.
And so I basically looked at him. I said, I'm sure you've probably heard this from a bunch of people, but I am truly the person that if you allow me to get a chance, I will prove to you why you should have given me a chance. And I said, I mean that from the bottom of my heart. 100%, I'm like I said, I'm sure you hear that from everyone. But I said, I'm different, and I will prove it to you. I just need that person to give me a chance. And obviously it worked because I ended up getting hired there like less than a month later. But kind of similar to like your situation where it's frustrating going into it because you know that, I mean, your odds are pretty low. And there are certain departments that like to hire laterals more than greenhorns, right? And that's okay, but some of those greenhorns need a chance too, like you need to. The problem is that same thing with your industry, I'm guessing, is they look at you and they're like, if you have no experience, like there's such a bigger learning curve than where if we can just bring someone in that already has done the job, like the training will be quicker, costs less money to get them through, stuff like that. So yes, I have been through something similar to that. I just got lucky the first time around. So
there's like so many people though that have experienced in their job that just suck at their job. Like, I feel like I could interview for almost any position, even if I have no experience in that position, and be able to tell if someone's going to do good. Because like you can kind of tell when someone's a generally competent person that can just handle things, and like that's kind of what I was hoping people would see. What ultimately actually ended up, I think, really helping me get this position is he was just kind of asking about me and like my goals, and I was talking about just like my financial goals and things, and like why I want to move over to this job even after I'd made so much more money than I can hope to make in this industry. And you had put me on to Dave Ramsey back in the day. Remember that?
Yeah, oh yeah.
And I went on a kick with him for a while. I would listen to the main thing I would like about those is like just listening to the nightmare situations that people put themselves in. And it's like even if you don't like his methods, the fear of ending up like these fucking people that call into his show and they're hundreds of thousands in debt, like I just think like whatever I do, I just gotta not be that person. Like that's what I took away. And but he also was a fan of Dave Ramsey, and like we kind of connected on that. And I guess like sometimes that's all it takes. Do you still listen to that guy?
Absolutely. In fact, I was watching some shorts today of Dave Ramsey, and there was this one guy called in. He's like, I'm 53 and I want to retire soon, but I have $0 in savings. And so Dave is like, okay. He's like, what? How much do you make a year? And the guy's like 75. He's like, okay. And the chick next to Dave is like, how much debt are you in? He's like, well, I have $20,000 left on the mortgage and I have about $25K on my car loan. And Dave's like, okay. He's like, well, you're going to need to get rid of the car, which is usually always his first thing is get rid of the car. And he's like, whatever you salvage on the car, try and pay off the house if you can or get close to it. Unfortunately, I felt bad for this guy because Dave asked him straight out, how did you get to be 53 years old and you literally have $0 in your savings account? And he said, well, I married a spender. And he said, we just divorced last year. And he said, I pretty much got nothing out of the deal. And so he's effed.
Damn.
And, I felt bad for the guy. And you could tell Dave felt bad too. But, he started laying the groundwork of where to start. And I don't know. I mean, think about that. 53. I mean, Dave would be like, yeah, you're going to have to work till you're like 80, dude. Like another 20 plus years to like get to some type of financial comfortability, you know?
That's how it is, man. Like, I mean, anytime you walk into Home Depot, the whole store is filled with those people. Everyone that works there
It's true.
is
That's true.
old and they have
yeah,
no
dude.
money, you know?
They got the plaid on, they got the cane, and they're still working,
Yeah.
you know?
And then my father-in-law, he works there. I don't know if he needs to, but this dude loves working on his house, and that can be expensive. Okay. And so I think that he works at he works at Menards.
Okay.
So he works at Menards in order to finance all these home projects that he's doing, you know. So he's not in like a terrible state necessarily, and he has like a home and things like that, right? So he's gonna be fine. But it's just like there's two kinds of retired people. There's the guys that, you know, they used to do construction and they're so used to just like building things or always working on their yard. Now they have moved to a townhome with an association or something like that. So there's no more yard work to do and they just need something to do. So they go and work at Menards. But then some people, they work there, they're a cashier because they have no money.
Yeah.
And it's like, or when I was like a debt collector, dude, like, so many people, they literally just live off the Social Security check. That's like nothing, dude.
That's wild, man.
And like, that's it. They're just scraping by every single month until they die.
I didn't realize how good my pension was. Like, when people actually explained my pension, I didn't realize, like, how amazing it actually is. So I was asking one of my family members, and I said, how much, like, is your average Social Security? Like, person that's worked 40 years, like, what's your average Social Security benefit or, like, payment per month? And he's like, most people probably bring in maybe $3,000 a month. Maybe. He's like, even then, that's kind of pushing it. Some of the better ones get probably $3,500 a month. But he said most people make between $2,000 and $3,000 a month. Okay? Bro, my pension is like $7,500 a month. I'm like, oh my God. So I'm bringing in like triple what these guys are making every 2 weeks. You know what I mean? I'm just sitting on my butt.
Yeah, especially if you have no house payment.
Because
these people that are on Social Security, they also are renting a place.
Yes.
You know, like they have nothing, dude. That's
correct.
It.
Yeah.
Man, that's a scary thought. But yeah, I just wanted to not be like that. But I ended up getting this job, and I get in there, and slightly what's kind of frustrating about it is like I wanted a job that was going to be just chill, because I've been chilling, you know, at my house, right?
Sure.
But I'm like, well, if I'm going to be chilling, like I might as well be chilling at an office, getting paid for every minute that I'm there, and then that way I can just feel like I'm not wasting time, and then also maybe have some time to, like, you know, they'll put me in like a work mode, because I was being a dad all day, like I just can't get into work mode. But being in an office, you know, maybe I could. And I had such a hard time finding a job. I had to apply for over 120 property manager positions till I was given a chance. I got maybe like 5 interviews at the most. And then I thought it was going to be easy, and it is easy. I am sitting there running an apartment building. It's just me, I'm the boss, and then this dude that is the maintenance guy, and he's been there for 16 years. It's an old 65-year-old Mexican dude named Roger. Okay. And he's just like the most hardworking, just honorable, humble dude. Like, that's just his like place in life. He's like, I live here and I take care of this place.
Yeah, dude.
And he has been there for 16 years, and he was talking today about how he's going to write the date on all of the smoke alarms that he's putting in this week, so that way 10 years from now he knows to change the batteries. Like, that's how far in advance he's planning ahead. And that's because he knows he's going to be there. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be here.
Hopefully he doesn't die. But
well, yeah, definitely.
But
there's no way I'm going to be there. I'm like, I'm going to have moved on by then probably. I don't know, maybe not. But like, that's just the kind of guy he is. Like, some people just don't have, like, they're not thinking about moving up or anything like that. He's just like, you know, I got enough, and that's what he's happy with, and he just enjoys that. So the problem comes in where, like, my first half of the day is kind of busy, and then the second half, I'm chilling, right? Just like I wanted. But then this guy comes in, and he's like, he's yanking out water heaters all day, and he's just like working his ass off every single day. Okay. And I just feel so bad every time he comes in my office. One time I'm sitting there like just going through YouTube or whatever, just watching videos on like, I don't know, some history or some shit, right? Just something dumb. And he comes into the office and he has like a bloody towel on his arm. And he's like, hey, did you see if my package came earlier? I'm like, yeah. Well, what about your arm, though? Yeah, like, you're bleeding, dude. You okay? He's like, oh, it's nothing. And he shows me, like, a big chunk of his arm is, like, the skin is missing from his arm.
You see his bone? Like,
yeah, almost, dude. You can see his muscle through, like, and he just wasn't concerned about it. He's like, yeah, it was just hard to get a piece out, and so it yanked off. I'm like, all right, dude. And I just feel like just so dumb. It's kind of that moment where, like, you're, like, a kid holding the flashlight for your dad as he's like doing some work around the house. Like, that's how I feel around this guy. And I'm supposed to be this guy's boss. He's 40 years my senior. He works way harder than me. And if it was some guy that's just like some, like, I don't know, just some scumbag that's been working there for 3 months, like, I wouldn't have the obligation or the feeling to like need to work super hard to try to like outpace this guy. But like, I feel like I need to match him. Like, I want his respect, you know? And I guess that makes me better, but that's kind of like, it's not what I wanted. I wanted like, I wanted to be the boss so that way I didn't have to feel like I needed to do anything that I didn't have to do.
Right.
But even though this guy technically like works for me, I feel like I owe him my hard work, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I understand that. So he's the main groundskeeper, essentially. So does he do like the plumbing too? Like, he does everything?
Yeah, he does everything he knows how to do. He's like everything. Yeah. Okay. I mean, like, so we do have people that will hire for like, if there's been 2 apartments already where we evicted people and then it's just trashed. Yeah. It's just so, destroyed. Dude, it is disgusting how some people live.
Oh yeah, dude.
And I just would love to see a time lapse of these people living there, like, because it was a beautiful apartment when they moved in, I'm sure, all completely remodeled. And then you walk in now and it's like there's holes in the walls, there is like just grime over every surface. Like, you don't even want to touch it, and every outlet cover is like shattered. Like, how do you even do that? I guess
sometimes I heard tenants will purposely damage shit when they know they're
being maybe
evicted.
Yeah,
like,
I guess just throw a tantrum.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, I guess. I mean, that makes perfect sense. So, like, when that happens, you have to remodel the apartment. And so there's a painter and there's, like, a flooring guy and things like that. So he doesn't do all that stuff. But those guys are Mexican, too. Everybody's Mexican. Okay? Cleaner's Mexican. Everyone's I should learn Spanish. They'll get it done in a day, dude. Dude, they're so good. Like, they just do it.
Efficient.
They just show up, and it's, like, a brand new place, like, by the end of the day. Yep. It's pretty amazing.
Yep.
But, yeah, I wish I knew Spanish, though, because, like,
they're probably talking shit around you don't even know.
Yeah, maybe. You just gotta not think about that as a white guy.
You just hear Zach and you're like, what? So, yeah.
Things have been going good, though, dude. Like, the biggest difference is, like, my life feels way more dense now. Like, I'm just so busy. Yeah. Like, before, what was occupying my mind is, like, I gotta figure out what is the best brand of ramen. Like, every week I would go and I'd be excited about trying the different ramen brands to figure out what's the best one. Sure. I figured it out. It's this red package. If you go to the ramen aisle, it's a red package. It's got like Asian writing on it, but it's like an udon sort of style. And it says spicy seafood on it. You get that one, dude, if you like ramen noodles.
I don't like seafood.
So. Well, it doesn't really taste very seafoody. I mean, I think that you'd be fine with it. There's another one that doesn't say seafood on it, but it's also a red package, and it's kind of similar. Super spicy, but it's fucking good. And it's like thick, like udon noodles. Like, that's the one to go with. But now, like, my life feels so dense. Like, I wake up at 5 a.m. every single day. Yep. And then, like, a lot of times I'm working, I'll get home until like 9, you know, every day. And I don't know how long I can keep that up for. But what's nice about it is after sort of like burning a lot of time to kind of doing nothing and just kind of coasting for a while, I feel like even though my life is dense, like, every second that I'm living, I'm doing it, like, I'm doing something righteous with my time, you know?
It
matters. Like, everything is productive, and I think that's good. The thing is that my life used to be like a roller coaster, because it would just be like, you know, one day I make, so one time I made $30,000 in a month, right? And that was like the biggest high of my life. Like I just felt like a baller, right?
Yeah.
And there's like a lot of dopamine that happens, like, winning when you're gambling at the casino or something like that. But then you would like hit these lows where you're not making any money and you don't know where your money's going to come from. That's what makes it hard to like build up and like plan for the future. Now my life, instead of being like up and down, it's just like, just even. Like there's not a lot of excitement, but I feel like over time is going to pay off. Like a year from now, I'm going to look back and be like, I made a lot of progress in the last year, even though it wasn't necessarily like exciting. Yeah. I feel like I've gained some wisdom, like.
Yeah. I mean, are you happy with your decision?
Yeah. I mean, right now, I think it's more about like a long-term thing where like, again, I might not see the fruits of it until like, a year from now. I got my first paycheck last week and it was just like a funny moment. Like, my first paycheck in 6 years, it was $1,500, and I haven't got a $1,500 check in a long ass time. Like real estate checks are like $5,000 or $10,000, right? Yeah. And so just like getting a check like that is just kind of silly. But it's like I'll get that more often, and so it's like it's not as exciting. But after a year of it, like I'm gonna be in a better spot because of it, and so that's what I think about it. Kind of have my eye on the prize, I would say. But then luckily I still have the sales on the side. Like I have a closing this month, so I'll make money there. Like I'm still going to have those like big bonus checks coming in from selling houses, I guess. But I don't know. It's weird. I feel like I gave up the young man's mindset of like wanting all the excitement and things like that. And now I'm on the straight and narrow.
The consistent.
Yep.
Nothing. Don't rock
steady.
the boat. Yep. Steady. Yep.
Absent father. That's what I am now, dude. I went from being home every single day to like I see my daughter like 30 minutes a day.
Yeah. She's like, "Where's Daddy?"
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't know. You're always gone.
Until she goes on a strip pole, you don't need to worry about it.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, man, I hear that, dude. That's awesome though. Like I've kind of been stuck in that mode for a while. The multiple jobs. And so at some point, whenever it happens in my life, I don't know if it's when my kids will graduate high school. I don't know when it'll happen. But when I can finally take a step back and just be done, like that's going to be so nice, man. Like I can't wait for something like that. But
well, you're probably going to stop the second job when your kid's born, right? Like there's no way you're going to have two jobs.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Because my other job is so selective that it's so open with my hours that I can pick essentially. I could work 8 to 10 a.m. and then 5 to 7 at night. Those could be my 2 shifts. Like it doesn't need to be like, you know what I mean? Like I could, on my off days, I could tell Carly like, here's the deal. I'll watch the kid, halfway through basically 6 to 8 hours of this chunk of the day, and then I'll do this on the back end and front end, and then still get my time in. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I wonder if your mindset will change like once you actually do have a kid. Because I swear to God, bro, it was like my priorities 100% shifted whenever I had Emery. Like it just was, it was crazy. Like I used to only think about. As I was driving around, I'd just think about how am I going to make money. I'd just be scheming all day.
Like,
and then
I'm gonna steal from there, dude.
I'm just like, how do I get business? Maybe I could do this. Maybe I'll join a church and pretend like I'm religious so I can get up on the stage and then get the back end of the church. Like I'd have these
tax-free paychecks, dude.
Yeah, exactly. But then once Emery was born, like I just no longer was scheming like that anymore. I guess. I don't know, man. I wonder if you're going to be like, I want to spend as much time at home as possible. Because, like, it became, like, anything that happened was, like, a nuisance. Like, this is just, like, an obstacle I got to get through so I can get back home to, like, hang out with my family. And I wonder how you're going to react. I can't really imagine you as a dad, bro. It'll be really interesting to see.
Well, I think the biggest hurdle will be more or less my cop job just because of how inconsistent it is, right? So, like, I rarely schedule, like, dinner stuff with people on my days that I'm working as a cop. Rarely. Because somehow people know that, and I have to stay late. Like, somehow some dude has to throw shit at somebody
Yeah.
at 15 minutes before I'm supposed to be off. You know what I mean? And so it's so inconsistent. If I would say, like, that's one thing that I miss about working in, like, well, food industry is a little different because you do have to close, you have to clean. So there's still, but like if the like a pizza joint closes at 9, you're getting out at 10 at the latest. So you know when you're getting out, like at the latest, right? And if you're a closer, but like the one thing that's what I miss is I miss that, like, well, I'm off at 4:30, like I'm done, like I don't care, like I'm not needed anymore, like. That's what I kind of envy about business jobs is, like, when that clock says you're done, you're done.
Yeah,
you don't care
out.
if that person is, like, you know what I mean?
You're on the phone, you just hang up on them.
Done.
Pizza's half
Pretty
done.
much. Yeah, like, you know, and so there is some envy to that because it's kind of like, damn, like, I wish I could schedule more things on my days of work as a cop but I just can't. I've been burned too many times, you know? So, and now the overtime is nice, but still, like, it sucks because it's like, you can't risk it. You know what I mean? Can't risk it. So, I don't know, man. It's interesting to say, but, you know, what are your thoughts on that?
I don't know, man. I think 3 weeks, your entire life's going to change. Or however long it is. That's about it, right?
3 weeks?
3 weeks,
Less than 3 weeks. We're at, like, 15 or 16 days now. So, we're talking, like, almost 2 weeks.
Dang.
So we have our 38-week doctor appointment this Thursday. And then after that, it could happen anytime. I mean, it could happen today. I mean, while we're recording this, she could call me. So who knows? But, no, yeah. So anyway, that's where I'm at with that. Is there anything else you wanted to add to that?
No, not really, bro. We can talk about the fight.
Okay. All right. So let's see. So Netflix... tried, and I say tried to host the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight because my ass stayed up till 10 o'clock to watch these motherfuckers fight. And all of a sudden, there's that fucking spinning dial of death on my TV. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? You know? And never even saw the damn fight. I fucking went to bed. I was so pissed. Dude, I stayed up late. You know, for people that don't know, you know, I wake up early just like you do. I'm up 4:30, 5 o'clock every day, almost pretty much. So for me to stay up till 10, like, that's a long day. Like, that's a long day for me. And I was pissed because I'm like, I fucking stayed up this fucking late for something that didn't even fucking, well, it happened, but it didn't happen for probably half the country because... How many comments did I see that I couldn't even watch the thing? What the hell kind of servers does Netflix have?
Yeah,
I mean,
after all these price hikes and stuff,
Yeah.
too, like, they were just in the news for increasing the price. And, like, you know, it used to be $10 a month or whatever. I don't know what it is now because I'm on my dad's, right? I'm not a full adult yet.
Sure.
Off his insurance, but not off the phone bill or the Netflix, right? But I think it's like, it could be $25 a month now probably, right? For the no ads or whatever.
Probably.
And then they also did the thing where they made it so you can't, for whatever reason, we're still able to, but they made a thing where most people can't share accounts anymore.
Yes. Yep.
And so, like, they've been making all these moves to make more money and, like, make people pay more money for their service. If you're going to pay more money for the service, then they should be able to introduce these things with no issues. Like, what are they adding for all this extra money? Are they just pocketing it? Like, is this really just to keep up with the inflation to provide the same service? Like, there's no reason that they don't have the resources to have good servers for this broadcast.
Well, apparently I heard this was a while ago. It was probably like 4 or 5 years ago. I heard Netflix was in some serious debt, like hundreds of millions of dollars, because they just throw money at stuff and then just hope, like, shit sticks. So it makes me wonder, you know, like, how bad are they hurting, you know? And then I was listening to an economics guy today, and he was saying, like, he can see Netflix actually going out of business at some point because YouTube and other platforms are having, like, Joe Rogan clips on there. They're having, like, other things for free. And like, if I can watch a Joe Rogan podcast for free, why would I pay $25? Now, granted, a little different. Like, if you want to watch movies, like, that's what they kind of got into. Even movie theaters were starting to do, because once COVID hit, like, movie theaters obviously had to close. Well, they also had to figure out 2021, 22 show up, and they're like, wow, like, a lot of people are still streaming. Like, we can't seem to get business anymore. Well, then the movie theaters come out and say, well, this is only in theaters. This isn't, you can't stream it anywhere. This is, anything like that. So they kind of had a comeback to what the apps were doing, because, for example, we loved Halo. We played Halo all the time, okay? Well, do you know what streaming app Halo's on?
Like Paramount.
Paramount Plus, okay? I bought Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
And I got through a season of it, and then I can't watch it anymore because it sucks that
Yeah,
bad.
I can't believe you even got through one
It's
season.
terrible,
I got
dude.
through 3 episodes.
I'm like, bro, okay, here's the problem, okay? Don't change something if it ain't broken, okay?
Yeah, how do you fumble that?
That is my biggest gripe with Halo. So I have a buddy of mine who loves the series, okay? And I asked him, the first question I asked him was, did you play the games? That's the first thing I asked him. He said, yeah, I love playing the games. I'm like, then how the hell can you enjoy the series? I'm like, first of all, who is this chick that's taken over the show?
Yeah.
That shouldn't even be a thing. That is not even... I understand you want to do a little side character thing. Fine. But like...
Are you talking about Master Chief's sidekick or the Covenant girl? Both of them were a problem.
Well, both.
Yeah.
Both. Yeah, whatever. Both of them. The sidekick and then that Covenant chick. I'm like, who the hell's this?
Yeah.
But I will say, like, some things that they did well on, like the Prophet. Like, they did well with, like, making them look good and, like, making them look like what they did in the games, right?
Yeah, the visuals
Like,
were great.
The visuals were awesome, dude. Like, the Arbiters and, like, other things like that, fantastic, okay? Like, even some of the fight scenes, like the one where Master Chief is on, like, this cloudy planet or whatever, and, like, his Marines are getting sniped out and, they're all invisible or whatever the hell. That was cool. But why? So where none of the story is, for a couple episodes, the story's kind of like there, where I'm like, okay, I can follow this. Like, as long as it starts picking up on where it's going, okay? But then when we get into, like, these other chiefs and, like, the who I'm talking about, the women and, like, the other black dude.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is this? Like, no, it should only be Master Chief.
Well, I mean, so, I know a lot of, like, the lore and stuff outside of, like, the games itself. Did you ever play Halo Reach?
So, no, but
Okay.
I know about the story.
Okay, because,
Yeah.
like, this took place before, like, Halo Reach, which is, there used to be lots of Spartans, and then they all died on Halo Reach, right? And so, like, Halo 1, the game, starts right after that
Halo
happened.
Reach.
Yeah, but so, like, that's why there's multiple ones. But, like, yeah, they just messed up with, like, adding the characters, and that's the problem with all these shows that are based on video games.
Yes.
They're getting the visuals right and the feel right in a way, but then they, like, mess up. They try to take the story in their own way. Like, they
Right.
I don't know. It's like an ego thing. Like, they can't
Yes.
just, like, do the thing that already was made. They want to make it their own and reinvent it. And it's like, anybody, like, why can't they just hire someone? The number one thing that they should be asking people when they're interviewing for these director slots is, like, have you ever played the game? And they need to be like, yeah, I love it. Like, I played 5,000 hours of Halo. Like, I've read every book, every comic. Like, you want that guy to be the showrunner. But for whatever reason, they just, like, choose someone that has never played the games, and they don't know anything about it.
There's a couple things, like I said. So there's a couple, like, main things I really appreciate with the show. Is the visuals by far the best of... It's not corny. Like, it actually looks, like, decent, right? And then they actually brought back the OG Cortana voice. So that was cool. Because that was like, okay. Like, that, listening to her, like, it brings me back to the games, right? But at the same time, like, the hell's this chip in the head thing? Like, what... Like, where's that coming from? Where's the whole, like... Oh, she can shut them down if need be or something like that. Like, I don't remember that. And maybe I'm
Yeah.
wrong in that area, but I don't remember her being able to, like, without a suit on, to just, like, stop him. Like, that's
Yeah.
not how that's supposed to work.
Well, he's never been without a suit on. Like, how?
That's another thing.
Yeah, like, you
What?
take off your helmet every
Dude, when
single...
he took off his helmet, I'm like, what? When I saw his face, I'm like, no. That's like the Mandalorian, dude. Like, they're not supposed to take their helmet off.
Yeah.
Like, that's not a thing. So when I saw that, and it just started going downhill quick, and then they have his buddy who used to be a Spartan who looks like Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that Dave Chappelle? That's not
No,
Dave
it's
Chappelle.
not,
Okay.
but it looks
But
just
it looks
like
like Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
They have him, and I'm just like, what the fuck is happening? Like, I'm like, we're going so far. The only thing I can think of is if, like, so I haven't seen a lick of season 2, so I don't know what the hell happens in there. But the only thing I think that could maybe save them and get them back on track is the flood. Like, if they somehow bring back the flood and then they go back to more of, like, what the video game was like, okay, then I can maybe get back on the train.
Yeah.
But my God, dude, like, if I'm the creator of that show, the first thing I'm doing is I'm pulling up how many copies did the game sell. How many do you think? I don't even know. What do you think?
I couldn't
like,
even guess.
Hundreds of millions, probably out of the whole
Yeah, I'm guessing,
thing.
yeah.
Hundreds of millions. I'd be like, okay, those same people are probably going to watch the show if I make it as close to the games as possible, and a little bit of actual lore, right? Like comic book shit. But my God, what a disappointment. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm so disappointed, dude. Like, I feel like I'm watching, like, my kid fail at something that should be, like, just, like, easy.
Yeah, like when you're watching your kid, like, miss at baseball and you're like, just give it to me. Like, here, give me the bat.
Yeah,
Like,
throw the ball. Like, I don't know, you know.
We were kids. I remember watching, like, these, like, the little clips that came out, like, live action Halo clips back in the day on YouTube.
Yes.
And, like, there was rumors that there was going to be a Halo movie coming, and never did. And then one day it did, and we're like, this is it, dude. But it's like, at this point, that's how it is with everything. They messed up The Witcher. They messed up Halo. They messed up. There was another thing they just messed up as well. Like, anything like that just gets ruined. And so it's like you can't trust any of that video game stuff, unfortunately.
No.
But get back on the Mike Tyson
Okay.
fight.
Yeah, go
you
ahead.
know.
Go ahead.
Well, I guess like we were just saying that. I guess how did we get there? You know, with how much
sucked.
money they make,
Yeah.
you would think that they'd be able to deliver on this product. Like, it's not like it's new for Netflix, but it's not like streaming a fight is new to the world. Like, it's not like an
It's like
experimental
making fire, dude.
thing.
Like, yeah, like it's like, bro, exactly. Like, you'd think that first of all, maybe someone's getting fired from it. I don't know.
Well, yeah,
Like,
yeah, maybe.
Like, bro, that's your job, dude. Like, call up Amazon or they stream Thursday Night Football. Why is there no issues there? You know what I mean? Like, that's just as popular as Mike Tyson fighting, you know?
Could you imagine if you went to a bar and were trying to watch this? Like, how everyone would be pissed off at the bar? Like, the whole restaurant would just be fucking pissed all night.
Oh, my God. Which, by the way, I went on Netflix today, and they now have it as a thing you can just watch.
Yeah,
Like, it's just,
and I figured that would happen. But the problem is I thought that I'd be able to watch it the next day without avoiding spoilers, and the very first thing that I see, and all I saw that day, was everything about the fight. So I ended up just watching the highlights.
Sure. So
And I didn't even watch the whole
Let's
thing.
get to the fight then. So, how much? Okay. I was telling my wife. She's like, "Who do you think's gonna win?" I said, "Mike Tyson, without question." Okay. That dude literally bit a guy's ear off. Like, I'm sorry, and I'm like, I don't give a shit how old he is. Okay. I wouldn't stand even if he was 80. I ain't standing in the ring with that psycho.
Well, no, you wouldn't, but Jake Paul is a boxer. I mean, even though he's got a sort of a bad reputation,
Sure.
you got to realize, dude, is that Mike Tyson retired for a reason. He was already kind of starting to suck when he retired. It's not like he retired undefeated. So, like,
I just feel like there's some murderous anger in there that could get him through it. You know what
I mean, there is, and he looks scary hitting the pads and things like that. But, I mean, you can tell just by the way that he moved that he just was an old guy. And even just walking into the ring, he did not have the murderous face on. Like, he looked scared, bro. Like, he was just like, he looked nervous walking up into that ring.
You know what it was for me that made me fear Mike Tyson? Was I was watching Joe Rogan, and Joe asked him, he's like, what is it for you that you love fighting? Like, what, every fighter has their what do you call it? Want to fight, to get in there and do it, right? Some it's you're just that masculine, you want to beat every dude in front of you. Some guys it's like, well, it's a goal for me to better myself, whatever it may be. Dude, Mike Tyson looked at Joe in the face, and he's like, I'm sorry. He's like, I get erect at the thought of killing a man in the ring. And you could tell Joe's just like sitting there like, are you serious? and I think Joe chuckled one time or something. And he, like, Tyson snapped him. He's like, it's not funny. And Joe, like, kind of shut up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, this dude's about to fucking murder your ass. But when I heard that, I'm like, okay, there are some electrons that are not, like, when this man wants, like, he gets, like, sexually excited about your dead body in the ring, dude. Like, that, when I heard that, I'm like, hey, he's winning, bro. Like, this dude will, like, eat your throat. Like, he'll, like tear out your esophagus.
So, I mean, what do you think happened then? Because that's not what happened.
Exactly. Dude, I think what happened is Jake Paul called this dude up, and he's like, here's the deal. You're a big name. Yes, you're old as shit, but do you want, like, $30 million? All you need to do is step in that ring with me, take a couple punches, and you'll get $30 million. And I think he said yes. I think there was no thought of going in there to actually, like, it didn't matter to him. Like, I saw interviews before where the dude's looking at his trophies. I don't know if you saw this video. He's like, look at all these trophies, Mike. And Mike's like, that don't mean shit. That don't mean shit no more. When I die, none of that's gonna follow me. It's just plastic. It's just metal. It doesn't matter to me anymore. So I think he went into there thinking like, yeah, I'll take $30 million, but I don't give a fuck about.
Well, he would have got paid either way. So I mean, why do you think he would not try to win if that was his mindset? And why not win and get $30 million?
Yeah, because I just don't think he cares anymore.
Yeah. I definitely don't think he cares. Like, so the video you sent me changed my mind about it because whenever I first saw this happen, like, I was sort of buying into the narrative that Jake Paul is sort of like a villain in this scenario because people kept saying how they really respect Jake Paul for not just beating Mike Tyson's ass, basically, like not knocking him out, even though he probably could based off the performance of both those fighters. And I thought that really wasn't something he deserved credit for because if this was something where, like, Mike Tyson was just trying his best and Jake Paul held back in order to not knock out Mike Tyson, it wasn't so much out of, like, respect for Mike Tyson as it was, like, that would be complete career suicide to just beat up Mike Tyson and, like, knock him out just to feed your own ego. Like, people would have hated him. They already didn't really like him going into it. And to do that would just be a bad move from a career perspective. But then I saw that video you sent me where he's being interviewed by a kid. And the kid asks, like, how do you feel? Yeah, like 11 years old. And she's like, so, this is the first chance of kids of my generation to be able to see Mike Tyson in the ring. Like, how do you feel about your legacy? Or I was asking him about legacy. And just like that other thing you mentioned, he said, well, I don't really care about legacy. Like, when I die, I die. Like, I don't really care about any of that. Which, respect on him for giving a real answer to a kid, because like he could have just said some kid shit and just been like, oh yeah, I'm super proud to like be an inspiration for all the children, but he didn't like fake it up for her, which I think she'll probably appreciate too. But then that's when I realized that he actually doesn't care about the legacy, and so I thought that Jake Paul was using Mike Tyson to steal his legacy in a way, but Mike Tyson doesn't even care about that, so he was just in it for the money.
100%.
And so, like, I think that they probably have no hard feelings with each other at all. It was just a good business deal for both of them.
That's exactly after that was over. That's how I felt. I felt like dude. It's like what's that Kevin James movie where he's a boxer? Did you ever see
I have no idea.
Same concept. Dude's like, man, Kevin James' character, he needs like 70,000, whatever it is, a high amount of money, and he finds out that if you fight but still lose, you still get paid. So he's like, yeah, I can take an ass whooping for like this amount of money. And that's basically what he does the whole time. He gets his ass kicked, but he still gets like $20,000 each time.
Yeah.
That's how I felt. I felt like Mike's going into this, like, he don't give a fuck. It would be different if I told Mike, hey, Mike, your life is on the line here. Like, if you don't win this, you're going to die. I feel like he'd go in there guns a-blazing, dude. Like, that dude would be... I don't know. And who's the leader of UFC? His name's Dana something.
Dana White?
Yeah. Somebody asked him after the fight. He's like, "What do you think about Jake Paul now?" He's like, "I don't think shit." He's like the guy literally beat up a 58-year-old fighter. He's like, "Did anyone ever look into the guy that was actually equivalent to him? He beat Jake Paul in a fight." So he's like, "Come to me when he's actually fighting other, essentially equivalent or better boxers. You ain't gonna see Jake Paul fight Conor McGregor. Dude's gonna get destroyed. Now boxing's a little different than MMA, but I guarantee you Conor McGregor could probably still hold his own against Jake Paul.
Well, it actually is a challenge from Jake Paul out to Conor McGregor to do it, but
is there
they wanted to fight at like 175. Conor McGregor wanted to fight at 175, which is the weight class that Conor McGregor is at. And Jake Paul didn't want to do that because you have to drop down.
Like 200?
At least, I'm sure. I mean, the dude's giant.
He's huge.
Yeah. And so he didn't want to like drop down to the weight class, which is ridiculous because I mean, weight class 100% matters. Like
absolutely, it does. The power behind your punches and stuff. Like
but so here's the thing though, bro. Like, so this whole situation reminded me of when Conor McGregor went to box Floyd Mayweather. So like you thought that Mike Tyson would definitely win. I thought that Jake Paul would definitely win just because of the age. I knew that this is what I figured was going to happen. I thought he would look a little bit better, but I thought that I think Jake Paul could have gone harder if Mike Tyson would have gone harder, and I think he still would have won. Now, people thought that Conor McGregor might actually be able to beat Floyd Mayweather when it was like, obviously that's not going to happen because this is a sport that Conor McGregor does not participate in. Like, just because it's like getting a basketball player, like it's getting LeBron James to go play for the Dallas Cowboys or something like that. Like, why would you think he's going to do good,
Right.
But people thought that just because it's Conor McGregor, just like people thought just because it's Mike Tyson he's going to win. And then after Conor McGregor lost, well, everyone's like, well, obviously he was going to lose, like acting like that was a foregone conclusion. But then that was another situation where he just did it for the money. Because,
100%.
People saw after that all the money that he made for taking that beating, and it was, obvious. And so, I don't know. It's just weird. I'm surprised that you thought that Mike Tyson was definitely going to win.
It's just his psychoticness. I thought his psychoticness would just override.
Yeah,
dude.
That just didn't come out.
The one punch to the face, and then, a switch goes off, dude, and he's just, going off. You know what I mean?
Well, on Joe Rogan, he did make it seem like at one point, back when he was not training at all, he had said that if he tries to go and hit pads and it would reignite a flame.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened to that guy's ego. I think he just smoked weed enough to where he just lost it all. And he's 58, he's probably low T,
Yeah.
So I guess that's just what happens. Now, one good thing about this Jake Paul is that so he's, first of all, both him and his brother are good at sort of playing the villain. They both know what they're doing, and he obviously knows that he's challenging people that he can easily beat and they're past their prime.
Which is BS, dude.
It's BS if you legitimately want to be considered one of the best boxers.
For sure.
But if you're just trying to build a name for yourself, then he's doing a great job. Sure. And he's got to be building some skill, though. He's just an amateur boxer at this point. It's just that his notoriety allows him to be an amateur boxer against previous pro boxers who have aged back down to the amateur level.
Yes.
So, he's able to do it, and they're very good at promoting things and, marketing things. And so that's all this is a way to make money. I'm sure he enjoys boxing, And this guy gets to say that he beat all these people, and he gets more and more famous every single time.
It's ridiculous, dude. I'm sorry.
But it's smart.
It's 100%. From a marketing standpoint, it's very smart. I'm just thinking, I don't know, I would feel like you're in jiu-jitsu.
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be some integrity there. Can you imagine if they bring a fucking 7-year-old to you, and they're like, okay, you're going to fight them and be happy with it after? Bro, I'd be like, this is not a fight. There might be some 7-year-olds that can kick ass. But I'm just saying, I don't understand. To me, it's almost cheating. It's kind of and like you said, he's not necessarily in it for that. But how the hell can you just get by saying you beat these guys? First of all, if you ever gloat to me that you beat a dude that's 30 years older than you, sorry, man. There ain't no, I have zero fucking patience for that. Like I said, like Dana White said, tell me when you beat a guy that is equivalent to you, and either is equivalent as far as weight, skill, or is a little better, and you beat them, okay, then we can chat. But like you said, he's probably not in it for that. He's just an amateur. Ain't no way he's gonna pull up to. He wouldn't he's calling, like you said, he's calling Conor McGregor to boxing, which is not his main deal. Conor's obviously.
Well, I think he's calling him to an MMA fight. I'm pretty sure that's what he's trying to do.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Well then, okay.
But still, it's not fair because he's so much bigger. Even in MMA, even though Conor McGregor does MMA and Jake Paul really doesn't, the weight class really fucking matters. And it's just not going to be fair if he's got 50 pounds on fucking Conor McGregor. So it just doesn't matter. But what they're doing, though, is they are bringing more money into these fights. UFC is notorious for not really paying their guys all that much. So, if you're somebody that is a fighter, and you're wanting to make money, then going to fight Jake Paul is probably one of the best things that you can do. And honestly, every fight that he does probably progresses the industry of fighting or boxing, whatever, a little bit further, because it's sort of like in jiu-jitsu, the biggest tournament, which was the ADCC, which happens every 2 years. It's it's the biggest grappling tournament. They paid their people notoriously little. If you won, you got $10,000 or something like that, right? It's just ridiculous amount of money, ridiculously low, right? Yeah. For the amount of effort that you'd have to go through to beat everybody there. But then now there was another promotion that came to combat that this year, and it was a really big deal, and it was just far more entertaining than the ADCC, and the winners got $1 million, right? And a big part of this was, these guys previously had participated in this, but they're just basically trying to progress the sport by causing all this drama. The guy's really good at marketing, and he's just a huge troll, really likable. He's the good guy in this scenario. People don't really like the mainstream guys. But this guy's name is Craig Jones. So Craig Jones puts on the Craig Jones Invitational and puts on this amazing event. People walked away winning $1 million. That in itself made it far more entertaining to see these people fighting it out for $1 million. And because of that, now that puts pressure on the mainstream ADCC to pay their people more money, because that's what people want now. And so I think in a way, these fights with Jake Paul where they're giving people $20 million to come fight, that's more money than these people probably have ever made in their careers. If that starts to get extended, what if Jake Paul, after he builds up more notoriety, starts his own fighting championship where now they're paying, he's Dana White, and now he's paying people way more money to fight. That could change everything and better the sport as a whole.
That's a good positive spin. I feel like Jake Paul's kind of like the Kamala, where he'll be like, all right, here's my terms on if you want me to fight with you, is there editing in it, that kind of stuff. And then they're like Joe Rogan's like, no, we don't edit. And she's like, okay, I ain't coming on. Whereas Conor's like, you need to drop down my weight class. He's like, nah, I'll pass. It's okay, well,
you can build a legit. This guy is doing it in a way where it's really overt, because he's picking people that obviously don't really have a chance to beat him in a way, but he's picking his fights well. And again, it is building his name. Again, in jiu-jitsu, the biggest guy, his name is Gordon Ryan, and he just beats everybody. I mean, he just doesn't lose. Like,
He just
you
folds
don't
you in the
ever
pretzel,
think, you don't, if he's fighting, you don't ever think, I wonder who's going to win. It's just like, I can't wait to see how
long
Gordon
can he wait?
What he does is he will do a fight, and he doesn't ask himself, like, am I going to win? He says, like, how am I going to win? I'm going to pick a submission and try to, like, I'm going to try to finish him that way. So he'll write down, like, write a triangle on a piece of paper, put it in an envelope, and then he will give it to the judges. And then he'll spend this entire fight trying to finish him with a triangle choke. And then like, nobody knows what's in that envelope. And then he's like, open this after the fight. And so he'll finish somebody out with a triangle. And then they'll open up the envelope and be like, oh, it's a triangle. You know, that's just what level he's on. Like, he's just way better than everybody. But if you really look at it, he knows what rule sets he's best in. And he does no time limit or like as long time limit as possible. Like he'll do like a 30-minute, fight or whatever. Because he has a strategy where he has a good gas tank and he just wears people out, and then just slowly over time he'll beat them, right? Okay. And he knows that's his rule set. So when he's negotiating these contracts, he will make sure that it's no time limit or like a really big time limit. All these rules that he knows he performs best in. Since he's the best guy, he can kind of hold all the cards, and also people get paid, good money for fighting him. And so there's that incentive. But because he plays with the rules like that, he gets to have a much higher chance of winning. Whereas if he would to go and do like 10-minute matches, he might lose on points or something, and that would ruin his legacy. So that's like a more subtle version of what Jake Paul does. Now, everybody hates this guy too.
I was going to say that because here's the thing. Like, that means anyone's a great fighter. Like, that means if I said, hey, Zach, I need you handcuffed behind your back and your ankles tied together laying on the floor, and I have to submit you in 10 minutes, I'm going to win.
Yeah.
So does that mean I'm a great fighter because it's on my terms? No. It means you suck. like
yeah.
You should come to the point and be like, yeah, I'll challenge you on that. And then if you come out on top, I don't get that. Like, that's the part I don't understand is, like, how the fuck do you consider yourself a good fighter if, like, you're putting out these terms of, like, well, this is what I'm good at. Okay, I don't give a fuck what you think you're good at. This is supposed to be even. Like, This is supposed to be a match fight. This isn't weighted towards you because you just think you're the greatest thing since sliced bread, which you've built up your reputation like that. But, like, is that a fight? You know what I mean? So, you get where I'm coming from?
I definitely do. Like, and, people call him out. The other thing with jiu-jitsu is that steroids are not illegal in jiu-jitsu. So he's definitely on steroids. Like, this dude's crazy looking. I'll show you a picture of him. He's my age, bro.
Okay.
Or your age, probably.
Okay.
You should see. He looks like he's a 50-year-old veteran, bro. Like, it's hilarious. But that also is.
How much he weigh? What's his weight class?
It's got to be fucking 225 or something like that. Yeah. I mean, it's like heavyweight.
Just huge, dude.
Yeah, but that's kind of fun, though, is like watching these guys like bang it out, these huge-ass guys. So there's a lot of steroids there, but now this dude that just won $1 million in the Craig Jones Invitational, he's coming up. Like, when he was a blue belt, which is the belt that I just got promoted to, he went to that ADCC and he got second place. Like, that's how good he was as a blue belt. Now it's been probably several years since then, and he's like much more skilled now. And he just challenged Gordon Ryan. But one of the rules was, we got to take drug tests first. And, like, Gordon Ryan's basically like, well, I'm not going to do that because I do steroids. Right. So he's not willing to fight this guy off of steroids, So, like, there is a lot of that. And, that really calls into question the legitimacy, too, is a lot of people say they're not on steroids, but they really are. It's kind of like the thing where in the sports where even when it's banned, like cycling and things, like everyone's on steroids.
Which we've talked about.
Yeah, exactly. And this is out in the open, essentially. It's becoming more of an open secret than it used to be, but it's literally not. You can totally compete in jiu-jitsu on steroids, and a lot of these people do, but some say they claim not to, but it's like you don't really know, and so that kind of muddies things up.
And then they're winning 40 matches a year or however they do it, like. That reminds me, like, when people said the MLB is like, oh, well, we didn't know Barry Bonds was on steroids. I'm like, are you kidding me? So one year he goes from hitting 7 home runs. The next year he hits like 58. Are you kidding me? Like, that's not just luck. Like, maybe if he breaks 20, sure. Like, you can say some of those are luck. He just got a little better. His skill got better. Bro was reaching across the plate, almost hitting the sand, and still hitting it out of the park. I'd be like, okay. Not to mention his physique. You can't tell me you didn't know he was on roids, bro.
Well, some people don't know what is reasonable to achieve naturally. And I think it's because a lot of these people are on steroids. But, like, remember the Liver King? You know who that is?
Oh, yeah, he admitted.
So, like, he admitted, but, like, there's people that legitimately didn't think that he was on steroids. His whole thing is that he's not on steroids.
It's wild.
That was his brand.
Yeah.
And, like, obviously he is. But people just, they really don't know, like, what is realistic and what isn't. You ever see bodybuilders from, like, the 1950s, like, when this really started coming, or even like the 20s.
Oh, they look way different.
Like, yeah, there's different, they call them different ages of bodybuilding, but if you look back at what's called like the Bronze Age of bodybuilding, like their secrets were they would just have like a certain diet, but they would have like a beer gut basically. Yeah. Like they just looked, completely different. And to compare that to today, it's night and day, but like those are actual natural bodies, and you know what there is now isn't, but the average person just has no idea.
No, zero clue. So, yeah, I mean, look, I think if Jake Paul is going for the fans and a WWE style, great. Like, if you don't care about, that, I just know, like, from the other side of it, I wouldn't be able to lift a trophy above my head knowing that, like, 90%, like, you're going to win the game. Like, there's no doubt about it. It's like starting a baseball game 15, you're up 15-0, and then you win. It's like, okay, like, great. You
ever heard of, like, the concept of an exhibition match?
Yeah, it's so, not marked on your record.
Yeah, and so, like, just having it labeled as that makes it seem less serious and, like, more like it's just for fun. And I feel like that's how Mike Tyson approached this. Hey, I'm going to go out there, have fun, and I'm going to make $20 million. Like, that's kind of what it looked like. So if they would have called it an exhibition match and it played out exactly the same way, would that have changed your perspective on how this went down?
Like, yeah, because it wasn't an exhibition, right? So you're saying if they did make it an exhibition match?
Yeah, like if they called it an exhibition match, like
it doesn't matter.
And yeah, like it doesn't really matter. It's just for fun. Like,
right.
That would have changed everyone's public opinion.
That would have changed.
That's really what this guy is doing. Is he's making a career off of exhibition matches, but he's just not calling it that. Like,
correct.
I feel like if you look at this guy's fights, where he's bringing these stars back from the grave, basically, and getting them back in the ring one extra time, then I think people would have a lot more respect for Jake Paul. Now, I think that he doesn't do that again on purpose because he kind of wants to be the villain. There's a lot of people in the fighting industry that make a career off people hating them, and that's what he's doing. People do that even in the UFC. People, hate certain fighters, but he just happens to be famous enough where he can do it on his own. He's an independent contractor fighter, basically, setting everything up on his own, and people hate him. But, how many people were there? I think there was 70,000 people there or something like that, and so, like, obviously there's enough pull there. And, like, I don't think he's not going to change because people are calling into question his character. I mean, especially all that matters is what was the agreement they had? What was the understanding about the situation that he had with Mike Tyson? Where they both, like, Mike Tyson probably said, hey, man, thanks for the opportunity after that. Yeah. Especially if he doesn't care about his legacy. Like, probably worked out exactly like he wanted. Yeah. So he didn't get knocked out. That's not what he wanted to do.
No.
So, yeah, I thought that was I wish it was more entertaining, but, I mean, good for Mike, I guess. Do you know if he was, like, hurting for money?
I don't know. I mean, he might be. I mean, look at a lot of these, like, older rappers or something, like, you just, they're kind of washed up, like, you just never see them anymore, and then they have to come into a cameo. I always make the joke about how, like, Adam Sandler calls all his old buddies to make a movie because they need more money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Same thing. All of them, the same characters, all of them. So that may have happened. I don't know. I mean, dude, he could still autograph shit nowadays, still get paid good amount of money. So I don't know. I don't know if he did or not. I didn't look too far into it. I was just disappointed I'm just disappointed at Jake Paul, I guess. I mean, it's just frustrating to just watch this guy like celebrate something that's just fake as fuck.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, to me, like, that's not what a warrior, like, fighter should be. Like,
Yeah.
Like, you should go in there almost thinking that you might lose, but then come out on top. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you on that. So all right, man.
Awesome.
Is that it?
Yep, I'm good.
Cool. Well, thanks for watching. We post every Wednesday or Thursday and clips every day on YouTube. If you made it this far, subscribe and like, and we'll see you next time.